Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Let's start the chapter 1 Introduction to Cost Accounting. First, we'll understand the meaning of cost. According to ICMA London, it is the aggregate expenditure incurred to produce a given thing. So, whatever the expenses incurred or expenses made to produce a product, that is converting the raw material into finished product and selling it to the customer. So, the expenses made by the industry or the manufacture unit to produce a product, that expenses or that total expenditure is called cost. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುನ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನು ಖರ್ಚನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ರಾ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ನ ಖರೀದಿ ಮಾಡುವುದು, machinery expenses, salary or wages to the workers, advertisement, packaging, salary or commission to the salesmen, etc. So all these expenses is called cost. So it is the aggregate expenditure incurred to produce a product or the given thing is called cost. Next one is costing. It is the technique and process of ascertaining the cost. So costing is a method, or you can say it is a method, technique or process which is used to find out the cost of a product or service. To find out the cost of product or to find out the cost of a service, whatever the methods or the techniques used by the manufacturing unit, that is called costing. So costing is the technique, process, or you can say it is a method of ascertaining the cost or finding the cost of a product. Next one is cost accounting. It is the process of accounting for cost from the point at which expenditure is incurred to the establishment of its ultimate relationship with cost center or cost unit. Next one is cost accountancy. It is the application of costing and cost accounting principles, methods, and techniques of cost control and ascertainment of profitability. So these topics will be asked for two marks. What do you mean by cost or what do you mean by costing? Next, we'll learn the functions of cost accounting. This topic may be asked for 5 marks. Number 1, it determines actual cost of each article, process and service. So the first important function of cost accounting is to find out the actual cost of each article, process and service. Second one is it analyzes cost by elements and divisions. Third one, it reveals inefficiency in material wastage, loss of manpower, and underutilization of machinery. Fourth one, it supplies cost data for pricing of product for giving competitive quotation. Cost accounting helps in preparing the quotation for the product. Fifth one, it finds out degree of efficiency and productive capacity of man and machine. Next one is cost unit. It is a unit of product, service or time in relation to which cost may be ascertained. So sugar per quintal only. So the cost will be calculated per quintal. Soap per box. Cement per bag. Hospital per patient per day. Then hotel per room day. ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ per student. ಆ ಥರ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So this is about the cost unit. Next is cost center. A location, person or item of equipment for which cost may be ascertained and used for the purpose of cost control. Next is aims or objectives of cost accounting. So this word aims, 4 letters, represents the aims or the objectives of cost accounting. First is A, that is ascertaining and analyzing the cost and income. The most important objective of cost accounting is to find out, that is, to ascertain and analyze the cost and income of a manufacturing unit. I, that is, insisting on cost control or inventory control. The second important objective of cost accounting is to control the cost, that is, reducing the cost or controlling the cost of a product, that is, providing quality goods at a reasonable price to the customer. M. Matching cost. S is securing control over cost and operating efficiency. So these four are the aims or objectives of cost accounting. Next, we'll see the advantages and disadvantages of cost accounting. First, we'll see the advantages. Number one, it helps in cost control. Second one, it helps in decision making. Third one, it provides job security. So this advantages is applicable to workers. Fourth one, it helps in preparing national plans for economic development. And fifth one is people will get better quality goods at a reasonable price. Next is disadvantages of cost accounting. Number one, cost differences, lack of accuracy, it is expensive. Fourth one, not suitable for small units. So this cost accounting method is suitable for large industries or large manufacturing units. It is not suitable for small undertakings or small industries. Fifth one, it lacks social accounting. So the topic advantages and disadvantages of cost accounting may be asked for 5 marks. Unit 2, classification of cost. First, we'll understand the meaning of cost classification. It is the process of classifying the cost on the basis of their nature, characteristics, or features. That is called cost classification or classification of cost. Here, costs are classified into following groups. That is, number one, according to elements. Second, according to functions or operations. Third, according to behavior or nature. Fourth, according to time. Fifth, according to controllability. Sixth, according to normality. Seventh, according to averaging. Eighth, according to identifiability or traceability. Ninth one, according to relevance to decision making and control. 10th, according to financial accounting. And the last one is some special types of cost. So the costs are classified into these 11 groups. In this unit, you will study first three classification, that is elements according to elements, according to functions or operation, according to nature or behavior. First three you will study in detail in this chapter, that is element wise, function wise, and behavior wise. I will start with the first one, that is according to elements. Number one, according to elements or element wise cost classification. Element wise costs are again classified into three groups, that is material cost, labor cost, and expenses. Okay, element wise costs are classified into three types: material cost, labor cost, and expenses. And these all three costs are again classified into two types, that is direct and indirect. Okay, all these three costs are classified into two groups, that is direct and indirect. Direct labor cost and indirect labor cost. Direct material, indirect material. Direct expenses and indirect expenses. So I have written here each elements of cost are further divided into two parts, as I told you, that is direct cost and indirect cost. What are these direct cost? It means that cost which can be identified with an allocated to cost centers, and indirect costs are the costs which cannot be allocated but can be apportioned. So first we'll see the material cost. What is material cost? This is the cost of commodities supplied to an undertaking. So the raw material cost or the commodity cost is called material cost, which is supplied to the industries for making the product or for producing the goods. So material cost is the cost of commodities supplied to an undertaking to produce a product. So this material cost is again classified into two types, as I told you, that is direct materials and indirect materials. Direct materials are those materials which can enter into and form a part of a finished product. So direct materials are the main material or the material which will be converted into finished product. That is, raw material will be converted into finished product or the final product. That material is called direct material. For example, in furniture making company, wood or timber will be used as the direct material for making the furniture, leather in shoe, clay in bricks industries, and cloth in garment industry. So this timber, leather, clay, cloths, etc. are the direct materials which will be converted into final product. That is furniture, shoe, bricks, garments respectively. And the second one is indirect materials. Indirect materials are those materials which cannot be conveniently identified with the cost center. So, for example, nails used in furniture, thread used in stitching the garments, and nuts and bolts. Okay, understood the meaning of direct material, indirect material? Direct material are those material which can enter into and form a part of the finished product. And indirect materials are those material which cannot be conveniently identified with cost units. Second one, that is labor cost. These are the cost of remuneration such as wages, salaries, commission, bonus, etc. of the employees of an undertaking. So labor cost means the remuneration. So the workers or the employees who work in the industry, they will get salary, wages, bonus, etc. So whatever the remuneration paid to the workers in the form of wages, salaries, commission, etc., that cost is considered as labor cost. And this labor cost is again classified into two parts, that is direct wages, or you can write direct labor. Okay, you can write here direct labor also. Direct wages and indirect wages, or you can say direct labor and indirect labor. Both are same. So first we'll understand the meaning of direct wages or direct labor. Wages paid to workers who are directly engaged in converting the raw material into finished product. Okay. The workers or the employees who are engaged in the conversion of raw material into finished product. Okay, the workers who work in factory, that is converting the raw material into finished product, whatever the wages or the salaries paid to that worker who work in the factory is called direct wages. Got all of you the meaning of direct wages? Wages paid to laborers who directly engaged in conversion of or converting the raw materials into finished products. That labor or that wages is called direct wages. And this direct wages is also called as direct labor, productive labor, process labor, operating labor, and prime cost. Okay. So this direct wages is also called as direct labor, productive labor, etc. For example, the example of direct wages is tailor, shoemaker, carpenter, etc. Okay. These persons, they work in the factory. Their work is to convert the raw material into finished product, making the final product. Next one is indirect labor. So vice versa. Direct labor, what they do? They they are engaged in factory work, that is converting the raw material into finished product. Here in indirect labor, the laborer are not directly engaged in the production of goods. Their work is to assist or help in production of goods and services. ಸೊ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಕಚ್ಚಾ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳನ್ನು ಫೈನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟರ್, ಕ್ಲರ್ಕ್, ಸೂಪರ್ವೈಸರ್, ಆಫೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್, ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಕೀಪರ್, ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. Indirect labor is a labor who is not directly engaged in conversion of raw material into finished product, but they assist or they help in production of goods and services, like supervising or assisting them, giving them directions or the administrative work, storekeeping, etc. And the last one is expenses. So they whatever the expenses made for converting the raw material into finished product or to make the final product, that is called expenses. So this expenses is also again classified into two categories, that is direct expenses and indirect expenses. So the direct expenses are those expenses which can be specifically incurred in connection with the cost center. For example, carriage inwards, import duty, excise duty, freight, etc. So indirect expenses are those expenses which cannot be identified with the particular job. For example, rent and rates, power and lighting, insurance, etc. So this is the cost classification according to elements. Okay, according to elements, costs are classified into three parts, that is material cost, labor cost, and expenses. And these three costs are again classified into two parts, that is direct and indirect. Got all of you this topic? Let's start with the point number two. According to functions or operation. Function wise, costs are classified into four parts. Number one, production cost or work cost or factory cost. Okay, this production cost is also called as works cost or factory cost. Second one, administrative overhead. Administrative overhead is also called as office overhead or office cost. Third one, selling cost. And fourth one is distribution cost. Got all of you? Function wise, costs are classified into four parts: production cost, office cost or administrative cost, selling cost, and distribution cost. Number one, production cost or manufacturing cost. So by this word, production and manufacturing, you will get that here in which process will undertake, that is conversion of raw material into finished product, that is the production of or manufacturing of goods or the final product. So whatever the cost incurred for production of goods, that is conversion of raw material into finished product, that is called production cost. So this cost begins with the supplying of material, labor and services and ends with the completion of the production. So this cost starts with the supplying of material. So to produce the product, final product, the first thing required is raw material, then labor, then other services. So here are the examples of production cost. Indirect labor, factory rent and rates, insurance of factory, consumable stores, lighting and heating, drawing office expenses, etc. So all the expenses related to factory where raw materials are converted into finished product, that expenses or that cost is called production cost, manufacturing cost or factory cost. Second one is administrative cost. So this administrative cost consists of all the expenses incurred in direction, control, and administration of the undertaking. Here are the examples of administrative cost. That is salary of office staff, director fees, office rent and rates, audit fees, etc. Third one is selling cost. So whatever the expenses or the cost incurred for creating the demand for the product or for selling the goods, that expenditure or that cost is called selling cost. For example, salaries and commission of the salesman, showroom expenses, samples, free gifts, advertising, etc. To sell the product, what we have to do? We have to appoint the salesmen to sell the product. For them, we have to give the salaries, commission, bonus, etc. Then showroom expenses, giving free samples, demonstration of the product, free gifts, vouchers, etc. and advertising of the product. Fourth one is distribution cost. So it is an expenditure incurred for distributing the goods, that is packaging cost, carriage outward, etc. So these four are the cost classification according to their functions or operation. Next we'll see the classification of cost according to their behavior or nature. According to their behavior, costs are classified into three parts, that is variable cost, fixed cost, and semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Next, we'll see the variable cost. Variable costs are the cost which goes on changing in relationship with increase and decrease in output. Okay. For example, we have increased the production means the raw material, the requirement of raw material will increase. So the expenses or the cost of direct material will increase. And if the workers are working on hourly basis, production wise, piece wise, if they are working, if the production increases means labor hour also will increase. So then the direct wages or the direct labor cost will increase. And power supply. More production means you have to run machine for more hours. The power consumption will be more. So the cost which goes on changing or the cost which changes with the increase and decrease in output, such types of cost are called variable cost. Second one is fixed cost. They are fixed in nature. They will not increase or decrease in relationship with production. So fixed costs are the costs which are fixed in nature and will not be affected by the production. So production ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಲಿ, the fixed cost will be stable. It will not be affected by the increase or decrease in output. Example, rent and rates, depreciation, insurance, etc. So last one is semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. So these are the costs which are partly fixed and partly variable. So they are not completely variable and they are not completely fixed. They are semi-fixed and semi-variable. Partly they are fixed and partly they are variable. Such types of cost are called semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Examples are maintenance and repairs, telephone expenses, etc. Let's start the problem number 1. ABC Limited is engaged in the manufacturing of a product. Its records reveal the following information for the year 31st March 2019. Okay, all these information related to the year 31st March 2019. Direct wages 25,000. Factory overhead is 50% of direct wages. So factory overhead, how much we have to charge? 50% of direct wages. So direct wages is how much? 25,000. Yes, 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. Yes, 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. 50% of 25,000 we have to take as a factory overhead. other particulars. That is, on 31st March 2018 and 31st March 2019. This is the opening balance and this is the closing balance. First item is raw material. So the opening stock of raw material amount is 24,500. 31st March 2018 is the opening balance. 31st March 2019 is the closing balance. So the opening stock of raw material is 24,500 and the closing stock of raw material is 25,000. Next is work in progress. Opening work in progress is 25,000. Closing work in progress is 27,500. Finished stock. Opening stock of finished goods is 45,000 and the closing stock of finished goods amount is 37,500. Purchases. That is 1,25,000. Administrative overhead 10,000. Selling overhead 12,000. Sales for the year is during this year the sales total value, the total sales is 2,20,000. Prepare cost statement. It is to prepare cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2019. By taking all this information, we have to prepare cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2019. Let's start the solution. Here is the solution. Write the heading cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2019 and the columns are particulars, one extra column for the calculation and the last is total cost. First what we have to take? Information related to raw material. All these things we have already discussed, that is format of cost sheet. So first we have to take information related to raw material. So the cost sheet start with the opening stock of raw material. So first we have to take opening stock of raw materials. See in the problem raw materials in other particulars. So 31st March 2018 is the opening stock of raw material. So the opening stock of raw material amount is 24,500. Write in the solution in inner column opening stock of raw material is 24,500. To that opening stock of raw material, what we have to do? We have to add purchases and is there any expenses related to purchase of raw material? That is freight, octroi, carriage inward, etc. All these things we have to add to the opening stock of raw material. But in this problem, we have got only purchases, no other expenses related to purchase of raw material. So after taking opening stock of raw material, add purchases. Purchase amount is, see in the problem, purchase amount is 1,25,000. Right here, 1,25,000. Now add these two amounts. 24,500 plus 1,25,000 and the total amount is 1,49,500. So after taking opening stock of raw material, add purchases, we have to less closing stock of raw material. Closing stock of raw material, we have to deduct. Less closing stock of raw material. So closing stock of raw material amount is 25,000. Right here, 25,000. Now, from 1,49,500 minus 25,000, you will get 1,24,500. Write in total cost column. This is the final amount. 1,24,500. To this amount, write material consumed. Material consumed is 1,24,500. Got all of you? First, what we have to take? Opening stock of raw material and purchases. In some problem, they'll give you certain expenses which are related to purchase of raw material. That is freight, octroi, carriage inward, etc. All these expenses we have to add. In this problem, we have got only purchases that we have taken here. So first we have to take opening stock of raw material, add purchases and expenses related to purchases, and after that we have to minus closing stock of raw material, and the final amount what we will get, that is called material consumed. So in this problem, material consumed amount is 1,24,500. Clear this part? Next, we have to take direct expenses, direct wages, direct labor, direct expenses we have to take after material consumed. So, in this problem, we have got direct wages. Direct wages amount is 25,000. So, after material consumed, write direct wages and the amount write in total cost column 25,000. Add these two amounts. 1,24,500 plus 25,000, and the total amount is 1,49,500. That is called prime cost. The total of material consumed and direct expenses is called prime cost. The first important hit. After prime cost, we have to add factory overhead. Right here, add factory overhead. So factory overhead, how much we have to charge? See in the problem. After direct wages, factory overhead is 50% of direct wages. So factory overhead we have to take 50% of direct wages. Direct wages amount ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 25,000. So ಆ 25,000 ಇಂದ 50% ನಾವೇನಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು factory overhead. So right here add factory overhead and the direct wages amount is 25,000. Write in bracket 25,000 into 50% because here in problem they have clearly mentioned that factory overhead should be 50% of direct wages and the direct wages amount is 25,000. 50% of direct wages, that is 50% of 25,000 we have to take as factory overhead. So in bracket mention 25,000 into 50%. You will get 12,500. 50% of 25,000 is 12,500. So the factory overhead amount is 12,500. Got this calculation? Now add these two amounts. 1,49,500 plus 12,500 and the total is 1,62,000. In this problem, they have given work in progress. Opening work in progress we have to add and closing work in progress we have to less. So right here add opening work in progress. Opening work in progress amount is, see the problem, 25,000 work in progress on 2018, that is the opening. Work in progress amount is 25,000. So this 25,000 we have to add. Add opening work in progress amount 25,000. Add these two amounts. 1,62,000 plus 25,000 and the total is 1,87,000. Then less closing work in progress. Opening balance. The opening work in progress, we have to add that amount, we have to add, and closing work in progress amount, we have to minus, we have to deduct. Less closing work in progress. Closing work in progress amount is 27,500 minus that amount from this 1,87,000. Right here, less closing work in progress amount 27,500 from 1,87,000 from 1,87,000 minus 27,500. You will get the amount 1,59,500. To this amount, write works cost. After works cost, what we have to take? Administrative overhead, which is also called as office overhead. Right here, add administrative overhead. Administrative overhead amount is 10,000. Right? Add administrative overhead amount in total cost column 10,000. Add these two amounts. 1,59,500 plus 10,000, and the amount is 1,69,500. This is called cost of production. To that cost of production, we have to add opening stock of finished goods, and we have to less closing stock of finished goods. Okay, opening stock of finished goods we have to add. Opening we have to add, and closing we have to less. In work in progress also, we did the same thing. Opening work in progress we have to add, and closing work in progress we have to less. Here, after cost of production, opening stock of finished goods we have to add, and closing stock of finished goods we have to less. Right here, add opening stock of finished goods. See in the problem, finished goods. Okay, finished goods, that is the stock of finished goods. Opening stock of finished goods amount is 45,000. This 45,000 we have to add. Write in the solution, total cost column, add opening stock of finished goods 45,000. Add these two amounts. 1,69,500 plus 45,000, and the total is 2,14,500. Now, less closing stock of finished goods. From this 2,14,500, we have to minus closing stock of finished goods amount. See in the problem, closing stock of finished goods amount is 37,500. Write in the solution, less closing stock of finished goods 37,500 from 2,14,500 minus 37,500, and you will get 1,77,000. This is called cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is 1,77,000. Next, we have to take add selling and distribution overhead. The next head is selling and distribution overhead. Selling overhead, that is selling and distribution overhead is 12,000. Right here, 12,000. Add these two amounts. Cost of production plus selling and distribution overhead amount, that is 12,000. 1,77,000 plus 12,000, and the total is 1,89,000. This is called cost of sales. This last item, sales for the year is 2,20,000. So in the year 2019, the sales is 2,20,000. So first we will take sales because profit they have not given here. That one we have to find out. By taking the sales amount, we can calculate profit. So first write sales. Sales is 2,20,000. From this 2,20,000 minus cost amount, that is 1,89,000. Okay, from this 2,20,000 minus cost of sales amount. Sales is 2,20,000 and the cost is cost of sales, that is 1,89,000. From this 2,20,000 minus 1,89,000 and you will get the difference amount 31,000. The difference amount is 31,000. This is profit. The problem number 2. Sai Company Limited manufactures a standard product. Prepare statement of cost and profit. Point A. Raw material consumed is rupees 45,000. So directly they have given here, that is raw material consumed is 45,000. Next is direct labor 27,000. Machine hour worked is 900 hours. So this machine has worked for 900 hours and machine hour rate is rupees 50. Point E. Administrative overhead is 20% on works cost. So administrative overhead, how much we have to charge? 20% on works cost. So whatever the works cost amount we will get, of that 20% we have to take as administrative overhead. F. Selling cost is rupees 1.50 per unit. That is 1 rupee 50 paise per unit. That is selling and distribution cost. G. Unit produced is 15,000 units. So during this period, how many units are produced? 15,000 units. And the last point is units sold 14,000 units at rupees 12 per unit. So during this period, how many units are produced? 15,000 units. And out of that, how many units are sold? 14,000 units are sold. So how much remain? 1,000. Correct? Total 15,000 units were produced. Out of that, 14,000 units are, that is 14,000 products are sold. So now in Goda, we will find 1,000 units. That is the closing stock. Clear all these points? Let's prepare the statement of cost and profit. Heading: Statement of cost and profit. Columns are particulars, total cost. So first what we have to take? Raw material consumed. So write here material consumed or raw material consumed. Amount is 45,000. Write in amount column 45,000. So after material consumed, what we have to take? Direct labor, direct expenses, direct labor, direct wages, direct material. All these things we have to take before prime cost. So write here direct labor and the amount is 27,000. Add these two amounts. 45,000 plus 27,000 and the total is 72,000. So the total of raw material consumed plus direct expenses, direct wages or direct material is called prime cost. So in this problem we have material consumed and direct labor and total of these two items is called prime cost, that is 72,000. So after prime cost what we have to take? Add factory overhead. Add factory overhead. So in factory, what do we do? In factory, the raw materials are converted into final product. Yes. So whatever the expenses incurred for manufacturing the product. So all these expenses we have to take under the head factory overhead. So in fact, use machine, plant, etc. So in this problem, they have given, read the point C. Machine hours worked is 900 hours and machine rate per hour is rupees 50. ಒಂದು machine ಅನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಾಸು ರನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ 900 hours. And this rate per machine, the machine rate per hour. So 1 ಗಂಟೆ machine run ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ total expenses ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ rupees 50. So we have to find out the total factory overhead amount, that is 900 into 50. So right here add factory overhead. This machine is work for how many hours? 900 hours. And rate per hour. 1 hour in a rate ಎಷ್ಟಾಗತ್ತೆ rupees 15. So we have to calculate the total hour rate. That is 900 hour rate. Do this calculation. Show in bracket 900 hours into rupees 15. And the total is 13,500. So the factory overhead amount is 13,500. Add these two amounts. 72,000 plus 13,500 and the total is 85,500. It is called works cost. So after works cost, we have to take administrative overhead or office overhead. Right here, add administrative overhead. See point E. Administrative overhead is 20% on works cost. So administrative overhead, how much we have to charge? 20% on works cost. Just now we have got works cost, correct? Works cost is 85,500. Yes. The total of prime cost plus factory overhead is called works cost. So works cost is 85,500. So 20% of 85,500, that is 20% of works cost we have to take as administrative overhead. So works cost amount ಎಷ್ಟಾಗಿದೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ 85,500. ಅದರ 20% ಅನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು administrative overhead ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. Show here calculation, right in bracket. Works cost amount is 85,500 into 20%. Mention in the problem 20%. Calculate this. 85,500 into 20%. You will get 17,100. So 20% of works cost will be 17,100. 17,100 is the administrative overhead. Add these two amounts. 85,500 plus 17,100 and the total is 1,02,600. This is called cost of production. So after cost of production, what we do? We take information related to finished goods. That is, opening stock of finished goods is to be added and closing stock of finished goods is to be deducted. In this problem, they have not given information related to opening stock of finished goods. But by certain information, we can calculate closing stock of finished goods. And this value, the value of closing stock of finished goods, we have to deduct from the cost of production amount. So see the point G and H. So in during this period, how many units are produced? 15,000 units, correct? So out of this 15,000, how many units are sold? 14,000. So total 15,000 units ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದರದ್ದು 14,000 units ಅನ್ನ ಮಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So ಉಳಿದೆಷ್ಟೀಗ 1,000 units. So this 1,000 units is the closing quantity, the closing stock of finished goods. So this is the quantity. We have to calculate the value of these 1,000 units. Let's prepare the note number 1. Note number one, calculation of value of closing stock of finished goods. First, we have to calculate the closing stock quantity. So, right here, unit produced. So, during this period, how many units are produced? 15,000 units. Less number of units sold. Less sold. So, how many units are sold? 14,000 units. So, from this 15,000 minus 14,000, you will get 1,000 units. So, this is the closing stock quantity. Closing stock quantity is 1,000 units. Next, we have to calculate the value of these 1,000 units. So the formula is value of closing stock of finished goods is equal to, or you can write value of closing stock is equal to cost of production divided by quantity produced into closing stock quantity. Okay, all these formulas I have already explained you in previous videos. So you can refer my previous videos for all these information. Formula is value of closing stock is equal to cost of production divided by quantity produced into closing stock quantity. Cost of production. So this cost of production where you will get? In problem or in solution? In solution. Yes. See here cost of production. Cost of production amount is 1,02,600. Correct? See in the solution cost of production. That is 1,02,600. So right here 1,02,600 divided by quantity produced. So during this period, how many units are produced? 15,000 units. Right here 15,000 units into closing stock quantity. Just we have calculated. That is 1,000 units is the closing stock quantity, the closing stock of finished goods. Right here, 1,000 units. Calculate this. 1,02,600 into 1,000 divided by 15,000. You will get 6,840. 6,840 is the value of closing stock of finished goods. And this amount we have to deduct from cost of production. Come to solution part, cost sheet, right here, less closing stock of finished goods. Amount is 6,840. Just we have calculated in note number 1. 6,840. From this 1,02,600 minus 6,840, you will get 95,760. This is called cost of goods sold. Next head is add selling and distribution overhead. Read point F. Selling cost is rupees 1 rupee 50 paise per unit. So the selling and distribution cost is 1.50 per unit. Okay, on one unit per unit. Here they have mentioned per unit. So on one unit, the selling cost is 1.50. So how many units are sold during this period? 14,000. Okay. One unit selling cost is 1.50. And during this period, how many units are sold? 14,000. So we have to calculate selling and distribution overhead on number of unit sold and not on number of units produced. Okay, one unit sell ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ selling cost ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ? 1 rupee 50 paise. So ಎಷ್ಟು units ಅನ್ನ ಅವರು ಮಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ? 14,000. ಎಷ್ಟು ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅವರು ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. On that we have to calculate the selling and distribution overhead. So right here add selling and distribution overhead in bracket right. So the number of units sold is 14,000. Okay, selling and distribution overhead we have to calculate on the number of units sold and not on number of units produced. ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ on that we have to calculate this selling and distribution overhead. So number of units sold is 14,000 into rate per unit is the selling cost per unit is rupees 1.50. Multiply this 14,000 into 1.50 and the amount is 21,000. So the total selling and distribution overhead on this 1400 unit is 21,000. Add these two amounts. 95,760 plus 21,000 total is 1,16,760. This is called cost of sales. What you can write? Total cost. Total cost or cost of sales is 1,16,760. Next, we have to take add profit and sales. So in this problem, they have given information related to sales and not profit. Profit we have to find out. Sales. See the last point H. Units sold is 14,000 units at rupees 12 per unit. So how many units they have sold? 14,000. And the rate per unit is rupees 12. So total ಎಷ್ಟು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾರಿದಾರೋ 14,000. So 1 unit ಅನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೂಪೀಸಿಗೆ ಮಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ? Rupees 12. So we have to calculate the total sales of these 1400 units and that will be the sales amount. So right here sales. So the number of units sold is 14,000. So one product anna one unit anna ಎಷ್ಟು ರೂಪೀಸಿಗೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? Rupees 12. So now total ಈಗ 14,000 product in our 14,000 units in a sales amount ಅನ್ನ calculate ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. For that what we have to do? 14,000 into 12. You will get 1,68,000. So the total sales amount is 1,68,000. From this 1,68,000 minus 1,16,760. Okay, the sales amount is 1,68,000 less total cost amount. Less total cost amount, that is cost of sales is 1,16,760. So minus this from 1,68,000 minus 1,16,760 and you will get the difference amount 51,240. This is called profit. Okay, the profit is 51,240. Balancing figure. Like this, you have to prepare the cost sheet and you have to find out the profit amount. Thank you, friends. Problem number 3. The accounts of Z Manufacturing Company Limited for the year ended 31st March 2012 show the following. Drawing office salary rupees 6,500. This item we have to take under the head factory overhead. Salary paid to the workers who are engaged in drawing the production chart or the drawing the production plan. So this drawing office salary we have to take under the head factory overhead. Don't get confused by this word office. Drawing office salary means we have to take under the administrative overhead. No, drawing office salary they have to take under the head factory overhead because the salary paid to the workers who are engaged in preparing the production plan or production chart. So this one we have to take under the head factory overhead. Next is counting house salary. So counting house salary we have to take under the head administrative overhead and the amount is 12,600. Counting house salary means counting house is the office where all the financial books, all the accounting books are kept. So counting house salary we have to take under the head administrative overhead. Carriage outward. So whatever the carriage paid for selling the goods or for distributing the goods to the customer. So carriage outward we have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead. That is 4,300. Carriage inward is related to purchase of raw material and carriage outward is related to selling and distribution of products or goods. So carriage outward you have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead. Carriage on purchase, that is carriage inward. Carriage on purchase means carriage inward. So carriage inward, what you have to do? You have to add to the opening stock of raw material. Bad debts. Bad debts is to be taken under the head selling and distribution overhead. Repairs of plant. Plant is used for producing the goods in the production area. So repairs of plant where you take under factory overhead, because plants are used in factory, that is conversion of raw material into finished product. The next is rent, rates and insurance for factories rupees 8,500. Clearly they have mentioned factory, so this 8,500 rent and rates insurance amount we have to take under the head factory overhead. Next is same item, rent, rates and insurance for office. So this 2,000 amount we have to take under the head administrative overhead or office overhead. Sales amount is 4,61,100. This one we have to take last. The sales amount will help us to calculate the profit. Next is stock of raw materials. So on 31st March 2011, stock of raw material amount is 62,800. So this is the opening stock of raw material. Opening stock of raw material amount is 62,800. Next is 31st March 2012. So this is the closing stock of raw material and the amount is 48,000. Opening stock of raw material you have to take first. To that you have to add purchases, any expenses related to purchase of raw material. And after that you have to less closing stock of raw material amount, that is 48,000. And the final amount what you will get, that is called material consumed. Next is material purchased, that is 1,85,000. This amount you have to add to the opening stock of raw material. Traveling expenses is 2,100 and traveler's commission is 7,700. So this traveling expenses or the traveling commission we have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead, because the salesperson or the salesman travels from one place to another place to sell the product. So this selling expenses, so this traveling expenses and the traveler's commission we have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead. Productive wages. Productive wages is also called as direct wages. This one we have to take before prime cost and the amount is 1,26,000. Next one is depreciation. On plant, depreciation amount is 6,500. So on plant, depreciation on plant where you will take under factory overhead, because plants are used in factory. On furniture, rupees 300. Furnitures are used in office. So this depreciation on furniture amount rupees 300 will take under the head administrative overhead. Okay, on plant will take under factory overhead and on furniture will take on administrative under the head administrative overhead. Director fees, administrative overhead. Gas and water for factory 1,200. So clearly they have mentioned factory, so we'll take under the head factory overhead. And the same item, gas and water for office, will take under the head administrative overhead. Manager salary. So total manager salary amount is 10,000. Okay, total manager salary is 10,000. But three-fourth of this 10,000 we have to take under the factory overhead, because this manager is working on both the departments, that is factory and office. So this 10,000, 3/4 of 10,000 we have to take under factory, and 1/4 of 10,000 we have to take under the head office overhead. Clear? Next, general expenses 3,400 will take under administrative overhead. The next item is income tax rupees 500, dividend 1,000, debenture interest is rupees 2,000, preliminary expenses is rupees 1,000. All these items are non-cost item. Income tax, dividend, debenture interest, preliminary expenses, all these are non-cost item. And these items we should not record in cost sheet because these are purely financial items. Financial items we should not record in cost sheet. So we have to leave all these items. EL items, income tax, dividend, debenture interest, preliminary expense ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು because these all are non-cost items, or you can say these are financial items. So we should not take in cost sheet. Clear this problem? Let's prepare the cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. Write the heading Cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. And the columns are particulars, amount, amount. First, what we have to take? Opening stock of raw material. So write here opening stock of raw material. So opening stock of raw material is how much? See in the problem, stock of raw material on 31st March 2011. The amount is 62,800. This is the opening stock of raw material. Write in inner column 62,800. To this opening stock of raw material, what we have to do? We have to add purchases and carriage on purchase. So in this problem, they have given carriage on purchase. That is carriage inward we have to add. Right? Add purchases. See here, material purchased is rupees 1,85,000. So this is the raw material purchase. Amount is 1,85,000. Right here, 1,85,000. Next is carriage on purchase. See the fourth item. See the problem. Carriage on purchase, or sometimes they will mention carriage inward. That one we have to take after purchases. Carriage on purchases amount 7,150. 7,150, write in inner column. Now add these three amounts. 62,800 plus 1,85,000 plus 7,150. And the total, write in inner column, 2,54,950. So after adding purchases and any expenses related to purchase of raw material, what we have to do? We have to minus closing stock of raw material amount. Right here, less closing stock of raw material. Closing stock of raw material, that is on 31st March 2012, amount is 48,000. This one we have to minus. Right here, 48,000. From 2,54,950 minus 48,000. Okay, closing stock of raw material we have to minus. And the final amount is 2,06,950. Writing out of the column, last amount column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀರಿ. 2,06,950. And this is called material consumed. So the material consumed amount during this period is 2,06,950. So after material consumed, we have to take direct expenses, direct wages, direct labor, or productive wages or productive labor. So in this problem, they have mentioned productive wages. So productive wages amount is 1,26,000. Productive wages means direct wages. Right here, productive wages and write in amount right outer column 1,26,000. All the direct expenses, direct wages, direct labor you have to take before prime cost. Add these two amounts. 2,06,950 plus 1,26,000 and the total is 3,32,950. The total of raw material consumed and direct expenses is called prime cost. So this to 3,32,950, right? Prime cost. After prime cost, we have to take factory overhead. Add factory overhead. So under this factory overhead, what we have to take? Any expenses or any charges related to factory that we have to record under the head factory overhead. So already we have seen the items which one we have to take under the factory overhead. So the first item, drawing office salary, we have to take under the head factory overhead. So right here under factory overhead, drawing office salary and the amount is 6,500. See the problem, next one is repairs of plant rupees 4,450. Right here in inner column 4,450. Rent, rates and insurance. Okay, rent and rates and insurance amount is 8,500. Right here, rent and rates and insurance amount is 8,500. Depreciation on plant. Depreciation on plant amount is 6,500. Next item is gas water. See here in problem, gas water in for factory amount is 1,200. Manager salary. So total manager salary amount is 10,000, correct? And three-fourth of this 10,000 we have to take under factory overhead. So right here in solution, manager salary in bracket. So total manager salary ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 10,000. Okay, full 10,000 ನಾವು factory overhead ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು. Only three-fourth of 10,000 we have to take under factory overhead as manager salary. So 10,000 into 3/4 ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. 10,000 into 3/4 you will get 7,500. Okay, 7,500 manager salaries we have to take under factory overhead. Got all of you? 10,000 ನ 3/4 ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 7,500 ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು as manager salary. So all the factory items are over. That is drawing office salary, repairs of plant, rent, rates and insurance, depreciation on plant, gas and water, and manager salary. Now add all these amounts. 6,500 plus 4,450 plus 8,500 plus 6,500 plus 1,200 plus 7,500 and the total is 34,650. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಔಟರ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ 34,650. Now add these two amount prime cost amount ಮತ್ತು ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ಎರಡು ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ 3,32,950 ಪ್ಲಸ್ 34,650 and the total is 3,67,600. This is called works cost. So ಈ problem ಅಲ್ಲಿ there is no work in progress amount. There is no opening work in progress and closing work in progress. So directly we'll write works cost amount is 3,67,600. So after work cost, we have to write add administrative overhead or office overhead. So any overhead or expenses related to office work or administrative department we have to take under this head. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ದಿ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಐಟಮ್ counting house salary rupees 12,600. This one we have to take under office overhead. So right here counting house salary amount is 12,600. Rent rates and insurance. Rent rates and insurance office amount is 2,000. So right here rent and rates amount 2,000. Next is depreciation on furniture. Depreciation on furniture amount 300. Depreciation on furniture 300 will take under administrative overhead. Next is director fees. Director fees amount 6,000. Write all the amounts in inner column. Next, gas water for office. And the amount is 400. Manager salary. So manager salary total 10,000 ittu. ಅದರದ್ದು 3/4 7,500 ನಾವು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಉಳಿದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ರೈಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ and the amount is total manager amount is 10,000 salary amount. So ಈ 10,000 ಇನ 1/4 ನಾವು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ into 1/4. Calculate this. 10,000 into 1/4 you will get 2,500. ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ 3/4 ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು 7,500 ಹೌದಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ 7,500. ಸೊ 1/4 ನಾವು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ 1/4 of 10,000 will be 2,500. ಸೊ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು 10,000 ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. 7,500 plus 2,500 total is 10,000. 3/4 of 10,000 is 7,500. We have to take under factory that we have taken. And next, manager salary 10,000. 1/4 of 10,000 is 2,500, which we have to take under the head administrative overhead. Next, general expenses. So right here, general expenses and the amount is 3,400. So all the administrative items are over. Now add all these expenses amount. 12,600, 2,300, 6,400, 2,500 and 3,400. Add these amount and you will get total 27,200. So 27,200 is the total administrative overhead amount. Now add this works cost amount and administrative overhead amount. 3,67,600 plus 27,200 and the total is 3,94,800. This is called cost of production. Here also they have not given the opening stock of finished goods and closing stock of finished goods. So directly after cost of production, we'll take selling and distribution overhead. Right here, add selling and distribution overhead. Any expenses made for selling and distributing the goods to the customer, that all things we have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಐಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಈ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಓವರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. So first is carriage outward. Carriage outward amount is 4,300. We have to take under selling and distribution overhead. So right here carriage outward and the amount is 4,300. Next is bad debts. Bad debts amount is 6,500. Next is travelers expenses and travelers commission. Both items, both the items we have to take under the head selling and distribution overhead. So right here traveling expenses is 2,100 and travelers commission is 7,700. Okay, four items. Add these amounts. 4,300 plus 6,500 plus 2,100 plus 7,700 and the total is 20,600. The total of these four items is 20,600. Add this 20,600 to cost of production amount. Add these two items. 3,94,800 plus 20,600 and the total is 4,15,400. This is called total cost or cost of sales. Total costs are very good. Cost of sales. That is 4,15,400. So in every problem, either they have to give information related to profit or sales. So in this problem, they have given information related to sales. So sales is student here. Sales is, got all of you, sales is 4,61,600. After rent and rates, there is a sales item. Sales is 4,61,100. So right here, sales 4,61,100. To get the profit amount, what we have to do? From this 4,61,100 minus 4,15,400. Okay, ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ 4,61,100 ಇಂದ 4,15,400 ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ and the difference amount is 45,700. This is called profit. Balancing figure. Profit is 45,700. So after preparing the call sheet, you can prepare a special note for this non-cost item. So one special note and prepare ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನೀವು. That is income tax, dividend, debenture interest, preliminary expenses. All these are non-cost items. So we should not include these items in cost sheet. Okay, one note and prepare ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Navya Limited manufactures plastic toys. It has received an order for supply of 300 toys. So this Navya Limited is engaged in manufacturing the plastic toys and it has received an order of manufacturing 300 toys. It is estimated that the raw material would cost rupees 36,000. Okay, to prepare this 300 toys, the raw material cost would be 36,000. Productive wages rupees 18,000 and overhead are as follows. Here the overhead are classified into two parts, that is variable and fixed overhead. First we'll see variable overhead. In that factory amount is 15,000, office rupees 22,500. Second one is fixed overhead. In that factory 30,000, office 12,000. Prepare statement showing price to be fixed per toy if manufacturer expects profit of 20% on sales. In this problem, we have to calculate total cost and cost per unit because here they have clearly mentioned that prepare a statement showing price to be fixed per toy. So we have to calculate the total price plus we have to calculate the price of per toy per unit. And the manufacturer expects 20% profit on sales. The profit percentage is 20% on sales. Let's prepare the statement of cost and profit. Solution. Write the heading statement of cost and profit. Write here output. So they have got the order of manufacturing how many toys? 300 toys. So write output 300 toys. Columns, particulars, total, per toy. Okay, you can write here total cost and cost per toy or per unit. So first we have to take material consumed. So the raw material consumed amount is rupees 36,000. So write here material consumed total. So this is it. This 36,000 rupees is the cost of raw material of this 300 units. So in total column, write 36,000 per toy. To get the per toy amount, material consumed amount, what we have to do? 36,000 divided by 300. Okay, to get the amount of per toy, material consumed amount of per toy, what we have to do? Total amount divided by number of unit produced. So the total amount, raw material consumed amount is 36,000 divided by number of unit produced. So how many units they are producing? 300 units. So 36,000 divided by 300, you will get the material consumed amount of per toy. That is 120, 120.00. Got all of you? To get the amount of per toy, what we have to do? The total amount divided by number of unit produced. Next, we have to take productive wages. Productive wages amount is 18,000. Write in total column 18,000. To get the productive wages of per toy, what we have to do? 18,000 divided by 300. 18,000 divided by 300, you will get the productive wages amount of per toy. That is rupees 60. Now add these two amounts. 36,000 plus 18,000 and the total is 54,000. Per toy 120 plus 60 and the total is 180 rupees. This is called prime cost. After prime cost, we have to take factory overhead. Right here, add factory overhead. So in this problem, the overheads are classified into two parts, that is fixed and variable. So first we'll take variable. See in the problem, variable overhead, factory. In factory, the amount is 15,000. So write here variable total cost column rupees 15,000. To get the per toy amount, what we have to do? 15,000 divided by 300. You will get 50 rupees. Next is fixed. See the second one, fixed. In that factory amount is 30,000. So write fixed and the amount is 30,000. To get the per toy amount, 30,000 divided by 300 and you will get rupees 100. Now add these three amounts. 54,000 plus 15,000 plus 30,000 and the total is 99,000. Same for per toy. 180 plus 50 plus 100 and the total is 330. This is called works cost. After works cost, we have to take office overhead or administrative overhead. Right here, add office overhead. In variable overhead, office amount is 22,500. Right here in total column 22,500. To get the per toy amount, what we have to do? 22,500 divided by 300 and you will get rupees 75. Next is fixed. Under this fixed overhead, office overhead amount is 12,000. Right here, 12,000. 12,000 divided by 300 and the amount is 40. Add these three amounts. 99,000 plus 22,500 plus 12,000 and the total is 1,33,500. Per toy 330 plus 75 plus 40 total 445. This is called total cost or cost of sales. Here in this problem they have not given expenses related to selling and distribution overhead. So we'll take just factory and office overhead and the total amount whatever we have got, that is called total cost or cost of sales. So after that we'll take add, profit and sales. So in this problem they have given information related to profit. Sales amount they have not given, that we have to calculate. And profit also we have to calculate, but just they have given information related to profit. That is the manufacturer expects 20% profit on sales. Profit of 20% on sales. To calculate the profit, we have to prepare a note. Let's prepare a note. Note calculation of profit. So see the last sentence. Profit of 20% on sales. So profit, how much we have to charge? 20% on sales. Correct? So we'll imagine that if the sales is 100, okay, 20%, percent means 100. So we'll make an assumption that if sales is 100, profit is 20. So this 20 is, here they have mentioned 20%. So to get the cost amount, what we have to do? Sales minus profit. Okay, from sales you have to minus profit amount. So from 100 minus 20, you will get rupees 80. So 80 is the cost. Make a equation. When the cost is 80, profit is 20, correct? When the cost is 80, profit is 20. When the cost is, so in this current problem, cost amount is, see the per toy amount. Here I have written here. See this total cost or cost of sales. So the per toy cost amount is rupees 445. See the per toy column, total cost. So the cost of per toy amount is 445. So right here, when the cost is 445, profit how much? So this is the equation. When the cost is 80, profit is 20. When the cost is 445, profit how much? That one we have to calculate. So calculate 445 divided by 80 into 20. Calculate this 445 into 20 divided by 80 and you will get 111.25. This is the profit amount of per toy. If this note is not clearly visible, we can see in the next page. Okay, right here in the solution statement of cost and profit, add profit. So 111.25 is the profit amount of per toy, one toy. Okay, write the per toy column first. 111.25. To get the total profit amount of 300 toys, what we have to do? 111.25 into 300. 33,375 is the profit amount of 300 toys. Add these two amounts. 1,33,500 plus 33,375, and you will get the total 1,66,875. Per toy 445 plus 111.25, and the total is 556.25. This is called sales. The total of total cost and profit is sales. Let's start the problem number 5. The accounts of machine manufacturing company discloses the following information for the year ending 31st March 2012. Material used is 150 lakh, direct wages 120 lakhs, factory overhead is 30 lakhs, and administrative overhead is 15 lakhs. So by taking all these information, we have to prepare cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. See the next para. Prepare a cost sheet of a machine which requires material of rupees 1,25,000, wages 75,000, and profit of 20% on selling price. So by taking all these information, that is material 1,25,000, wages 75,000, and profit of 20% on selling price, we have to prepare an estimated cost sheet for a machine. So in this problem, we have to prepare two cost sheet. Number one, cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. For that, we have to take all this information: material use, direct wages, factory overhead, and administrative overhead. Next, we have to prepare estimated cost sheet of a machine which requires material costing rupees 1,25,000, wages 75,000, and a profit of 20% on selling price. Let's prepare the cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. Write the heading Cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. Columns Particulars Amount. So by taking all these above information, we have to prepare the cost sheet. So material consumed is 150 lakhs. So write here material consumed, and the amount is 150 lakhs. Direct wages. Direct wages amount is 120 lakhs. Right here, wages 120 lakhs. Add these two amounts, and the total will be 270 lakhs. This is called prime cost. The total of material consumed and wages is called prime cost. Next, we have to take factory overhead. Add factory overhead. Factory overhead amount is 30 lakhs. Right here, factory overhead 30 lakhs. Add these two amounts, and the total will be 300 lakhs. This is called works cost. Only single item is given in the problem. So write add factory overhead, take the amount, and the total of prime cost and factory overhead will be works cost amount. Next we have to take add administrative overhead. Administrative overhead amount is there 15 lakhs. So write here 15 lakhs. Add these two amounts, works cost plus administrative overhead amount, and the total will be 315 lakhs. This is called total cost. Here they have not given information or the expenses related to selling and distribution overhead. So directly we'll write here total cost, that is 315 lakhs. Taking this paragraph information, we have to prepare one more cost sheet, that is estimated cost sheet of a machine. Okay, the material cost for the machine will be 1,25,000, wages is 75,000, and profit of 20% of selling price. Here they have not given information related to factory overhead or administrative overhead. But by taking certain formula and by referring the previous cost sheet, that is cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012, we can calculate the amount of factory overhead and administrative overhead. Let's prepare the estimated cost sheet of a machine. Estimated cost sheet of a machine. For a machine, material cost will be 1,25,000 and the wages will be 75,000. See the paragraph. The material cost will be 1,25,000 and wages is 75,000. Add these two amounts. 1,25,000 plus 75,000 total will be 2 lakh. This is called prime cost. So after prime cost, we'll take add factory overhead. In that paragraph, they have not given any information related to factory overhead, but certain formulas are there. By taking all these formulas and by referring the previous cost sheet, we can calculate the amount of or the percentage of factory overhead. Let's prepare the note. Note number one, calculation of percentage of factory overhead to wages. Okay, to calculate the factory overhead amount, we have to prepare a note that is calculation of factory overhead to wages. Okay, and the formula is percentage is equal to factory overhead divided by wages into 100. So all these formulas we have already discussed in the previous videos. So to calculate the factory overhead amount, the formula is percentage is equal to factory overhead divided by wages into 100. To put the values to this formula, what we have to do? We have to refer the previous cost sheet, that is cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. Factory overhead amount is 30 lakhs. So we'll write here 30 lakhs divided by wages. Okay, estimated wages about 75,000. This one we should not take. Previous cost sheet. See the previous cost sheet. Direct wages amount is 120 lakhs. So formulas ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ formulas ಗೆ value ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? We have to refer the previous cost sheet, that is cost sheet for the year 2012. So previous cost sheet ಅಲ್ಲಿ factory overhead amount ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 30 lakhs divided by wages. Wages ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? Estimated cost sheet ಇನ್ನಲ್ಲ. Previous cost sheet ಇಂದು. That is 120 lakhs. So right here 120 lakhs into 100. Calculate this. 30 lakhs into 100 divided by 120 lakhs. You will get 25%. Okay, you have to write percent because ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು into 100 ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. Calculator ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ? Calculation of percentage of factory overhead to wages. So don't just write 25. Write 25% of wages. Okay, answer is 25% of wages. So factory overhead amount, how much we have to charge? 25% of wages. So whatever the wages amount is there, of that 25% we have to take as factory overhead. Come to this estimated cost sheet part. Right here, add factory overhead. So factory overhead, how much we have to charge? 25% of wages. So wages amount is, see in the estimated cost sheet, wages amount is 75,000. Yes. So ಈ 75,000 ಇನ 25% ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು factory overhead ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. So see your calculation. Wages amount is 75,000 into 25%. Just we have calculated it is 25% of wages. So do the calculation. 75,000 into 25%. You will get 18,750. This is the factory overhead amount. For this calculation, factory overhead amount, how much we have to charge? 25% of wages. So in this estimated cost sheet, the wages amount is 75,000. So So 25% of 75,000 we have to take as factory overhead. That is 18,750. Add these two amounts and the total will be 2,18,750. This is called works cost. Next is add administrative overhead. To get the administrative overhead amount, we have to prepare note number 2. That is calculation of percentage of administrative overhead to works cost. For factory overhead to wages and for administrative overhead to works cost. So the formula is to calculate the administrative overhead. Percentage is equal to administrative overhead divided by works cost into 100. To put the values to this formula, refer the previous cost sheet, that is cost sheet for the year ended 31st March 2012. So administrative overhead amount ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ previous cost sheet ಅಲ್ಲಿ 15 lakhs. So right here administrative overhead 15 lakhs divided by works cost. So ಈ estimated cost sheet ಇನ works cost ತಗೊಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು. Previous cost sheet ಇನ works cost ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 300 lakhs. So write 300 lakhs. Administrative overhead amount is 15 lakhs. Works cost amount is 300 lakhs into 100. Do the calculation and you will get 5%. You get 5. That is, you have to write 5% of works cost. So, in this estimated cost sheet, administrative overhead, you have to charge 5% of works cost. Right here, add administrative overhead. So, in this estimated cost sheet, works cost amount is to the 2,18,750. Yes. So, right here, 2,18,750. Administrative overhead ಅನ್ನ ನಾವೆಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು 5% of works cost. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ estimated cost sheet ಅಲ್ಲಿ works cost amount 2,18,750. So ಈ 2,18,750 ನ 5% we have to take as administrative overhead. So do the calculation 2,18,750 into 5%. You will get 10,938. Add these two amounts. 2,18,750 plus 10,938. Okay, you will get 10,937.5. So total will be 2,29,688. This is called total cost. Add profit and sales. So profit will be 20% on selling cost. So we'll prepare note number 3 for calculation of profit. If sales is 100, 20% ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 100 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So if sales is 100, profit is 20. Problem ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 20% ಅಂತ. So we'll take here 20. So from 100 minus 20, you will get 80. That is called cost. So cost is 80, profit is 20, and sales is 100. By taking this example, we'll make an equation. When cost is 80, profit is 20. When cost is, so in this estimated cost sheet, total cost amount is 2,29,688. So right here, when cost is 2,29,688, profit, how much? Do the calculation. 2,29,688 divided by 80 into 20. And we will get 57,422. This is the profit amount. So in estimated cost sheet, write add profit, and the amount is 57,422. Add these two amounts and you will get 2,87,110. This is called sales. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. Let's start the discussion on difference between financial accounting and cost accounting. I have written here basis of differences between financial accounting and cost accounting. First point is purpose. In financial accounting, the main purpose of financial accounting is preparation of profit and loss account and balance sheet to know the result of business. In cost accounting, the main purpose of cost accounting is to provide detailed cost information to the management. So in financial accounting, the main purpose of financial accounting is preparation of profit and loss account and balance sheet to know the financial position or to know the result of the business. So in financial accounting, the accountant prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet at the end of the year to know the financial position of the business, that the business is making profit or going under loss. In cost accounting, the main purpose of cost accounting is to provide detailed cost information to the management. In financial accounting, the main purpose is to prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet to do the result of the business. And in cost accounting, the main purpose is to provide detailed cost information to the management. Second one, nature. In financial accounting, it is historical in nature, and in cost accounting, it is estimated price. Third one, classification. In financial accounting, costs are not classified in detail. Okay, in financial accounting, costs are not classified in detail. But in cost accounting, the costs are classified in detail, that is direct and indirect cost, element wise, etc. Okay, in cost accounting, the costs are classified in detail. The costs are classified in 11 groups, that is element wise, behavior wise, nature wise, function wise, etc. So this classification of cost you will study in next chapter, that is unit 2, cost classification or classification of cost. Fourth one is valuation of stock. In financial accounting, stocks are valued at cost price or market price, whichever is lower or whichever is less. But here in cost accounting, stocks are always valued at cost price only. Fifth one, party to be served. It is mainly meant for providing information to the shareholders, creditors, government, and employees. So, in first point, what we have studied in financial accounting, the accountant prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet to know the financial position of the business. So, whatever the financial information or the financial report prepared by the accountant, the information is provided to the interested users, that is internal users and external users. For example, shareholders, creditors, government, employees, management, etc. So the fifth point is it is mainly meant for providing information to shareholders, creditors, government, employees, etc. In cost accounting, it is mainly meant for providing detailed cost information to management. In financial accounting, whatever the financial report or the financial information is provided to internal and external users, that is the management of the business and outside the business. But here in cost accounting, the cost information is only provided to the internal user, that is the management of the business. The cost information is not available or it is not provided to the outsider. It is only meant for management, the internal users of the information. Sixth point is statutory requirements. In financial accounting, financial accounts are maintained according to the legal requirements of Companies Act and Income Tax Act. But here in cost accounting, maintenance of cost account is voluntary. Okay, here the financial reports or the financial accounts are prepared according to the Companies Act and Income Tax Act. But here it is prepared voluntarily. Seventh one, applicability. This financial accounting is applicable to all types of business organization, irrespective of size and nature. Cost accounting, it is applicable to business engaged either in manufacturing or in rendering services where cost per unit is computed. So financial accounting is applicable to all types of business, but cost accounting is applicable to business which are engaged in manufacturing of goods or rendering services where cost per unit is computed. And the last point is principles followed. In financial accounting, it follows generally accepted accounting principles, that is GAAP. GAAP full form is Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So, financial accounting follows the rules or the principles of GAAP. Cost accounting, it follows the costing concept and principles. Got all of you? So, all these are the differences between financial accounting and cost accounting. First one is purpose, nature, classification, valuation of stock, party to be served, statutory requirements, applicability, and principles followed. Let's start with the topic FIFO, that is first in, first out method. FIFO full form is first in, first out. Under this method, materials are issued out of first purchases. The materials which are purchased first will be issued first to the production department, and that method is called FIFO method. That is first in, first out. The first purchased material will be issued first to the production department. Let's solve the problem on FIFO method. Problem number 1. Prepare a store ledger account from the following information under FIFO method. Here they have given receipts date, that is material purchased date, quantity of material purchased, and rate per unit. And here issue date, the raw materials issued to the production department. That date I have mentioned here, that is issue date, and the number of units issued, that is quantity. So by taking all this information, we have to prepare store ledger account under FIFO method. Let's solve the problem. Store ledger account, and the columns are date, receipts, in that GR number, quantity, rate, amount. Next is issues, in that SR number, quantity, rate, amount. And the last column is balance, in that quantity, rate, amount. In receipts, we have to take the information related to purchase of raw material. Issues, in this column, we have to record the number of units issued to the production department. And whatever the quantity left in the godown in the store will be recorded in this column, that is balance. See the problem. On 1st January 2017, receipts date. See receipts date. On 1st January 2017, 300 units are purchased, rupees 8 per unit. So receipts will record in receipts column. So first write the date. See the solution. Write the date. 1st January 2017. In a GR number nil. Quantity, how many units are purchased? 300. So in quantity column, write 300 and rate per unit is rupees 8. So in rate column, write 8. Now we have to calculate the total amount of 300 units. For that, what we have to do? 300 into 8, you will get 2400. So the total value of 300 units is 2400. So in issues column, nil, because on this 1st January, only the goods are purchased and not issued. So write all the 4 columns of issues, nil. Balance में लिखिए 300, number of units is quantity 300, rate per unit same. So जो भी यहाँ हमने receipts में लिखा है वही same information हम balance में लिखेंगे. So write 300 at the rate 8 and the amount is 2400. On 5th January, 140 units are issued. Okay. On 5th January 2017, ಎಷ್ಟು units ಅನ್ನ issue ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? 140 units. So issued quantity where you will take? In issues column. So first write the date here, 5th January 2017. And receipts column nil. GR number nil, quantity nil, rate nil, and amount also nil. In issues column, record SR number nil. They have not mentioned here in this problem. So how many units are issued on 5th January? 140 units. So quantity write 140. See the balance. In store, how many units are there? 300 units. At the rate 8 per unit and total value is 2400. Okay, अभी हमारे गोडाउन में कितने यूनिट्स है? 300 यूनिट्स है और एक यूनिट का प्राइस क्या है? ₹8. सो अभी हमें 5th जनवरी को क्या करना है? 140 यूनिट्स को गोडाउन से प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट भेजना है प्रोडक्शन के लिए. सो राइट हियर इन क्वांटिटी 140 यूनिट्स, रेट. तो जो भी हमारा यहाँ बैलेंस है इसी में से हम क्या करेंगे? क्वांटिटीज यूनिट्स इशू करेंगे. तो 300 हमारे पास यूनिट्स है, उसमें से 140 इशू करेंगे ₹8. Now multiply this 140 into 8 and the amount is 1120. Out of this 300 units, we have on 5th January we have issued 140 units. So minus this from 300 minus 140. From 300 minus 140, you will get 160. In Goda, now how many units are left? 160 units. And the rate will be the same, ₹8. Multiply madri. 160 into 8 and the amount is 1280. And draw a line here. So second entry is completed. 7th January 2017. Purchase of raw material 200 units, rupees 8.20 per unit. Solution date 7th January 2017. GR number nil. So how many units? 200 units. So in quantity column write 200 and rate per unit is 8.20. Multiply this 200 into 8.0 and the amount is 1640. 1640. Issues column nil. Now write the balance. Previous stock write as it is, that is 160. So previous in stock is there and then same as it is we have to write, that is 160 at the rate 8 per unit and the amount is 1280. ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟೇನು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋಣ. That is 200 units at the rate 8.20 and the amount is 1640. Like this, you have to record all these entries. On 8th January, 60 units are issued. Write here in solution date 8th January 2017. Receipts column nil because on 8th January only the goods are issued, not purchased. So receipts column nil and issues column SR number nil. So in balance, Think that here two bags are there. In first bag, how many units are there? 160 units, and the rate per unit is 8 and the total value is 1280. And we have one more bag, that is in that bag we have 200 units and the rate per unit of this bag is 8.20 and the total value is 1640. We are preparing store ledger account under FIFO method, that is first in first out. So this method, what it say, that the materials which are purchased first will be issued first. So in this 160 bag and 200 bag, which one is the first bag? 160. ಸೊ ಈ 160 ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮೊದಲು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ 200 ಏನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಈ 200 ಇಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ 7th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದು ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಆ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಂದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಲೆಡ್ಜರ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ FIFO method. So in FIFO method, what you have to do? The materials which are purchased first will be issued first. So 60 units are we have to issue. So from this 160 bag, we'll take 60 units. So from this first bag, which carries 160 units, from that we will take 60 units. So is 160 bag ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಯಾವ ರೇಟ್ ಇದೆ? 8 rupees. So we'll take that 8 rupees and multiply this. 60 into 8, we will get 480 rupees. Now we have to write the balance. So in balance, what we have? 160 units in a one bag, but 200 in a mutton bag. So from this 160, just now we have issued 60 units. Now we are left with 100 units, and the rate is rupees 8. 100 into 8, and the amount is 800. And this 200 units as it is, because we have not issued anything from this second bag. So we'll write here 200 at the rate same as it is, you have to write 8.20 and the amount is 1640 and close this. On 15th January, units are purchased and on the same date, the goods are also issued. See the receipt date and issue date. On 15th January, 250 units are purchased and on the same date, 120 units are issued. So both receipts and issues we have to record in the store ledger account. Write the date 15th January 2017. So we'll take first receipts. So on 15th January, how many units are purchased? 250 units. So write quantity in the sets quantity 250 units. And these goods are purchased at rupees 7.90 per unit. So rate per unit, right? 7.90. Multiply it. 250 into 7.90 and the amount is 1975. Okay, receipts entry is over. On the same date, the units are issued also. So in issues column, write. So how many units are issued on 15th January? 120 units. Okay, 120 units. So how you will issue this 120 units? Directly you should not write 120 units. Okay, you have to see the balance. In balance, you have to see which type of or which rate materials are available. According to that, you have to issue the material. Total how many units we have to issue? 120. See the balance. Okay, see the balance on 8th January. So what we have in balance? 100 units, rate 8 per unit. And we have 200 units at rupees 8.20. So total ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು units ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 120. So first we will take from this bag. From first we will issue 100. Okay. Directly don't take 120. First we have to empty this first bag, then we have to go for second one. So first we'll take this 100. So write in issues 100. Then the rate per unit is 8. 100 into 8 will be 800. Remaining 20 units will take from this 200. Multiply this 20 into 8.20. You will get 164 rupees. I will write the balance. So this 100 we have used. So now leave that 100. From this 200, you can see this 200 we have issued 20. So इस 200 बैग में से हमने क्या किया है 20 यूनिट्स इशू किए. So अब बचे कितने 180. So write here 180 and the rate will be the same 8.20. 180 multiply this 180 into 8.20 and the amount is 1476. On the same date, we have purchased 250 units. See, on 15th January, we have purchased 250 units. This also we have to take in balance. Previous one that we have taken here, the last quantity, fresh purchases, we will write here, that is 250 units. Rate per unit is 7.90 and the amount is total amount is 1975. Next is on 18th January. On 18th January, 210 units are issued. Previous balance, what we have? 180 units, 250 units. So total how many units we have to issue? 210. So directly we can't write 210. So first we'll take 180 because in this first batch we have only 180 units. So we'll issue that this one first. So write 180 and the rate is 8.20. Multiply this, that is 1476. तो टोटल हमें कितने यूनिट्स इशू करने हैं 210. अभी हमने कितने इशू कर दिए हैं फ्रॉम दिस फर्स्ट बैच 180 यूनिट्स. अभी कितने बचे 30. Okay, so this remaining 30 units will issue from 250 units. 7.90. Multiply this 30 into 7.90 and the amount is 237. Now I will write the balance. So from this 250, we have issued 30 units. So from this 250 minus 30, how much remain? 220 units. So the balance will be 220. Rate is same 7.90. Multiply this 220 into 7.90 and the amount is 1738. Next entry on 22nd January. Issue date. See the issue. On 22nd January, how many units are issued? 200 units. Only the goods are issued. So write here in this in date column 22nd January 2017. Receipts column nil. In issues write 200. So how many units we have to issue? 200. So directly we can write here 200 because in balance column, see the balance what we have 220 units and the rate per unit is 7.90 and the amount is 200 into 7.90. You will get 1580. So balance from this 220 we have issued 200 units. So how many units are left? 20 units and the rate is same 7.90. Multiply this 20 into 7.90, you will get 158. Next see the receipt date. On 23rd January, 400 units are purchased at rupees 7.50 per unit. In receipts column, write quantity 400 units and the rate per unit is 7.50. Multiply 400 into 7.50, you will get 3000 rupees. Total amount is 3000. Issues nil. Write the previous balance as it is 20 units. Rate per unit is 7.90 and the total amount is 158. And on this date, on 23rd, we have purchased 400 units. So write that in balance 400 at the rate 7.50 and the total amount is 3000. On 25th January, 150 units are issued. Receipts nil. So total how many units we have to issue? 150 units. See the balance. What we have? 20 units, one bag, and 400 units, one bag. So directly we can't issue 150 unit because we have two different bags, two different rate units. So first we'll take this 20 because we are preparing the store ledger account under FIFO method. So first we'll issue this 20 units. So write in issues 20 units at the rate 7.90 and the amount is 158. So total how many units we have to issue? 150. So out of this 150, just now we have issued 20 units. So how much remain? 130 units. So this 130 units will take from this 400. From this bag 400 will take 130 units. So write here 130. So what is the rate of this bag? Rate per unit is 7.50. So 130 into 7.50 and the total amount is 975. We'll write the balance. This 20 is fully used. From this 400, we have issued 130 units. So, how many units are remain? 270 units. From this 400 minus 130, you will get 270. Rate will be the same, 7.50. Multiply this. 270 into 7.50 and the amount is 2025. Close this. On 28th January, 200 units are purchased at rupees 7.70 per unit. See the solution. 28th January, number of units purchased is 200. Write in quantity 200. Rate per unit is 7.70. 200 into 7.70, 7.70 and the amount is 1540. Issues nil. First we'll take the previous balance, that is 270 units at rupees 7.50 and the total amount is 2025. And add here, we'll add recent purchase, that is 200 units at rupees 7.70 and the total amount is 1540. Right? Close this. The last entry is on 29th January, that is issued 240 units. Okay, on 29th January, 240 units are issued. Receipts column nil. See the previous balance. See the balance. We have 270 units and 200. So on this 29th, we have to issue how many units? 240. So directly we can issue 240 because we have in this bag we have total 270 units. So we can easily issue 240 units from this first purchase. So write here in issues 240 units and the rate, which rate you'll take? This one, 7.50. Multiply 240 into 7.50 and the amount is 1,800. We'll write the balance. From this 270, we have issued 240 units. So, what you'll do? From this 270 minus 240, we will get 30 units. So, from this first bag, how many units are left? 30 units and the rate is same 7.50. 30 into 7.50. From the second bag, we have not issued anything. So same we will write here 200 at the rate 7.70 and the amount will be the same 1540. And close this. Do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you everyone. Problem number 2. From the following particulars of material X, prepare store ledger account under FIFO method. Certain information they have given related to purchase and issues of raw material, and we have to prepare store ledger account under FIFO method, that is first in first out. Under this method, the materials which are purchased first will be issued first to the production. Let's start the solution. Heading store ledger, and the columns are date, receipts, in that GR number, quantity, rate, amount, issues, SR number, quantity, rate, amount, and the last column is balance, in that quantity, rate, amount. See the first transaction, April 1st. There is a balance of 400 units at rupees 1 per unit. This balance will take in balance column, April 1st, write in balance, quantity 400 units, rate per unit is rupee 1 and the amount will be 400 rupees. And close this. Next entry is on April 2nd. Issued 100 units. Issued, we'll write in issues, April 2nd, receipts nil, in issues column, SR number nil. So how many units are issued? 100 units. See the balance. We have 400 units at rupees 1 per unit. In issues column, right? We have to issue 100, write here 100 units. So rate, see the balance, in balance. The rate is rupee 1. In issues, write rate rupee 1 and amount will be 100 rupees. From this 400 minus the number of units issued, that is 100, and the remaining balance you have to write in balance column, quantity 300 units, and the rate will be the same, rupee 1, and the amount is 300. April 4, purchased 1,600 units at rupees 1.10 per unit. Purchased, purchase of good will write in receipts column, April 4th, GR number nil. So how many units are purchased? 1,600. Right here in quantity. And the rate per unit is 1.10. Multiply this 1,600 into 1.10 and the amount is 1,760. Issues nil. I will write the balance. First write the previous stock, that is 300 units at rupee 1 and the amount is 300. Now add the recent purchase, that is 1,600 units, rate per unit is 1.10 and the amount is 1,760. So just in purchase ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, that you have to write here in balance. Next is on April 6th. Issued 600 units. See the solution. Receipts nil. Before issuing the goods, see the balance. We have 300 units stock and 1,600 stock. On 6th April, we have to issue 600 units. So directly we can't issue 600 units because in balance we have two different kinds of stock. One is 300 and another is 1600. First we'll take this 300 units because we are preparing store ledger account under FIFO method. And this FIFO method states that the material which are purchased first will be issued first. So in this both stock, which one is the first one? 300. So this 300 units, 300 stock we have to issue first. Then if this is not enough, then we have to go for the next stock. So on 6th April, we have to issue 600 units. So first we'll issue this 300 and remaining 300 we'll take from next stock. Write in issues, write the quantity 300. Rate of first 300 stock is rupee 1. So write here in rate rupee 1 and the amount will be 300. Remaining 300 will take from next stock, that is from this 1600 will take 300, right here 300, and the rate per unit is 1.10. Yes, for this 1600 the rate per unit is 1.10, so we'll take that rate here 1.10. Multiply this 300 into 1.10, you will get 330. So total we have issued 600 units on 6th April. Got this? Next we have to write the balance. This 300 we have fully issued. Next from the 1600 we have issued 300 units. So how many units are left? 1300. From this 1600 minus 300, the remaining stock is 1300 units. The rate is same 1.10 and the amount is 1430. Next is on April 10. Return to store 40 units issued on 2nd April. Return to store means from production area, the goods are returned to the godown, that is store. To store will take in receipts column because whatever the goods we have issued on 2nd April to the production department on April 10 due to some reason, maybe the goods are in excess amount. So the remaining goods they have returned to the store. So return to store will write in receipts column. Okay, return to store. Remember this. Return to store will take in receipt because the goods are returned to the go down store from the production department. How many units they have written? 40 units which were issued on 2nd April. See the 2nd April entry in the solution. So on 2nd April, how many units we have issued? 100. Okay, got all of you? 100 units we have issued. Out of that 100, now on 10th April, 40 units are returned to store. So that we have written here 40 units. Now we have to write the rate. No, so for that what we have to do? This is the 2nd April rate. We have issued 100 units and the rate per unit is rupee 1. So we'll take this rate here in receipts. Write here rupee 1. Issues column nil. Now write the balance. First we'll take this returned goods. First we'll write this return stock, that is 40 units. Rate per unit is 1 and the total amount is 40. Next we'll write the previous stock, that is 1300. Write this one here. 1300 at rupees 1.10 and 1430. Got this entry? Next entry is on April 11th. Purchased 600 units at rupees 1.20 per unit. Purchases will write in receipt April 11th. GR number nil. How many units are purchased? 600 and rate per unit is 1.20. 600 into 1.20 and the amount is 720. Issues nil. write the balance. First, we'll write the previous stock, that is 40 units at rupees 1 and the amount is 40. So previous in stock ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು as it is ಮೊದಲು ಬರಿಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ recent ಆಗಿ ಏನು purchase ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅದನ್ನ add ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. That's it. Next is 1600 at rupees 1.10 and the amount is 1430. Now add the recent purchase, that is 600 units at rupees 1.20 and the amount is 720. This one we have to write here. April 14th, issued 640 units. See the solution. April 14th, receipts column nil. So total how many units we have to issue? 640. Before issuing the goods, see the balance. What we have? See this balance. We have 40 units, next 1300 and 600. Three different types of stocks we have. Three different rates, three different types of stock. So total how many units we have to issue? 640. So what we'll do? First we'll issue this 40 and remaining 600 will take from this 1300 units. So first we'll take 40 units. So this 40 units, rate per unit is rupee 1. So write here rupee 1 and the amount is 40. Remaining 600 will take from this one, that is 1300 back. Write here 600. So the rate per unit of this stock is 1.10. So this rate will take here 1.10, 600 into 1.10 and the amount is 660. So total 640 units we have issued here. Now we'll write the balance. This 40 units, it is fully issued. And from this 1300 units, how many units we have issued? 600. Okay. From this 1300, just now we have issued 600 units. So how many units are left? 700 units. From this 1300 minus 600, the remaining balance is 700. And for this 1300 bag, the rate per unit is 1.10. We'll take that and the amount is 770. And this 600 stock as it is because we have not issued anything from this stock. So we'll write as it is 600 at rupees 1.20 and the amount is 720. Next is on April 16. See the problem. Purchased 200 units at rupees 1.20. In solution, write April 16. Purchased. So we'll take in receipts. How many units are purchased? 200. Quantity 200. Rate per unit is 1.20. 200 into 1.20. Total amount is 240. Issues column nil. First we'll write the previous balance, that is 700 at rupees 1.10, 770, 600 into 1.20, 720. Now add the recent purchase, this one, that is 200 units, rate per unit 1.20 and the amount is 240. And this entry is completed. The recent purchases we have to take last. Next is on April 20, issued 240 units. Write in solution April 20th, receipts column nil. So total how many units we have to issue? 240. See the balance? Balance of April 16th. We have three different stock. That is 700 units, 600 units and 200. So total how many units we have to issue? 240. So 240 we will take from which stock? This first one, from the 700, you will issue 240, okay, from the first purchase, not the receipt, because we are preparing store ledger account under FIFO method, that is first in, first out. So, in these three stocks, which one is the first stock? 700. From this 700, we'll issue 240 units. So, right here, quantity 240. So this 700 stock rate per unit is 1.10. We'll take here that rate 1.10. Multiply this 240 into 1.10, and the amount is 264. We'll write the balance. From this 700 we have issued 240, correct? From this first purchase, from the 700 we have issued 240. So how many units are left? 460 units, and the rate is same, 1.10. 460 into 1.10, and the amount is 506. Remaining two stock as it is, that is 600, rate per unit 1.20, and 720, 200 at rupees 1.20 and 240. Next transaction is on April 22nd. That is return to vendor 80 units purchased on 16th April. See in the solution, 16th April. So on 16th April, how many units are purchased? 200 units at rupees 1.20. Maybe the quality of the goods is not good. Due to some reason, return to vendor entry will take in issues because the goods goes out of the store. So we'll record in issues right here April 22nd. If the goods are returned to store, then we have to take in receipts. Return to store, we have to take in receipts. Return to vendor or return to seller, that we have to record in issues because the goods goes out of the store. So right here on April 22nd. So how many units are returned? 80 units. So for we have to take the rate. So which rate you will take? The goods are returned to vendor which are purchased on 16th April. See the 16th April. On 16th April we have purchased 200 units. On 16th April again ಖರೀದಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು, that is 200 units at rupees 1.20. ಯಾವ ರೇಟಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಖರೀದಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅದೇ ರೇಟಿಗೆ ನೀವು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So we'll write that rate, that is 1.20, 80 into 1.20, and the amount is 96. So this 80 you have to minus, correct? On 16th April we have purchased 200 units, and from this 200 only we have returned 80 units. That is the recent purchase. That is the recent purchase. So remaining two stocks we will write as it is, that is 460 at the rate 1.10, and the amount is 506, 600 1.20, 720, and from this 200 we have written 80 units. So from this 200 minus 80, the remaining balance is 120 units, and the rate per unit is 1.20, 120 into 1.20, and the amount is 144. Got this calculation? Last entry is on April 25th. Purchased 400 units at rupees 1 per unit. In April 25th, number of units purchased is 400. Rate per unit is 1 and the amount is 400. Issues column nil. Write the balance. First we'll write the previous stock as it is 400, 1.10, 506. ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಮೊದಲು ಬರೀರಿ. That is 600, 1.20, 720, 120, 1.20, and the amount is 144. Now add the recent purchase. That is 400 units at rupee 1 and the amount is 400. I hope you got this solution. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, friends. First, we'll understand the meaning of LIFO method. That is, last in, first out. This method is opposite to FIFO. FIFO we have already studied, that is first in, first out. Under FIFO method, what we do? The material which are purchased first will be issued first to the production department. In LIFO method, the material which are purchased last or the latest purchased materials will be issued first to the production department. So, LIFO method is the opposite to FIFO. Under this method, the last purchased are issued first to the production. Let's solve the problem on this method. Problem number 1. From the following information, you are required to prepare store ledger account under LIFO method. 1st February 2017, opening stock 100 units at rupees 10. So this opening stock will take under balance. Let's prepare the store ledger account under LIFO method. Columns are same, date, receipts, in that GR number, quantity, rate, amount, issues, SR number, quantity, rate, amount. And the last is balance, quantity, rate, amount. So this first entry will appear in balance. Write the date, 1st February 2017, that is 100 units. Rate per unit is 10 and the total amount is 1000. Close this. Second entry is on the same date, that is 1st February 2017, received 200 units at rupees 10 each. So they have purchased 200 units at rupees 10. 1st February 2017, receipts column right. Quantity purchased is 200, rate per unit is 10, and the total amount is 2000. Issues column nil, write balance. First write previous balance, that is 100 units at rupees 10 and total amount is 1000. Now write the latest purchase, that is 200 units at rupees 10 and the amount is 2000. 2nd February 2017, received 300 units at rupees 10.60 each. Received, these are purchased. Write in receipts column, 2nd February. How many units are purchased? 300. Rate per unit is 10.60 and the amount is 300 into 10.60, 3180. First take the previous balance, that is 100 units at rupees 10, 1000. Rate per unit 10, 1000. And now write the latest purchase, that is 300 units at rupees 10.60, amount 3180, and close this. On 4th February 2017, issued 400 units. This column need. So total how many units we have to issue? 400. See the previous balance, what we have? 100 units, 200 units and 300. We are preparing store ledger account under which method? LIFO method. So according to LIFO method, what we have to do? The material which are purchased last or the latest purchase we have to issue first. So first we have to issue this 300 and remaining quantity from 200 units. So total 400 we have to issue. First we'll issue this 300, write in issues column 300. The rate per unit to this is 10.60. Amount will be 3180. Next we have to issue 100 units, total 400. So 300 we have issued, remaining 100 will take from this 200, write here 100 and the rate per unit for this 200 goods is 10, 100 into 10, 1000. So total we have issued 400 units. Write the balance 100 at the rate 10, 1000, and from this 200 we have issued 100 units. So how many units are remaining? 100 at the rate 10, 1000, and this 300 we have fully issued to production. Next, on 6th February, issued 120 units. So again on 6th February, they have issued 120 units. Write date 6th February, receipts column nil. Latest purchase is this one. So take the issues column 110 and the total amount is 1000. Again, they have to issue 20. Total 120 we have to issue, 100 we have issued, and remaining 20 will take from this 100. Right here 20, rate per unit is same 10, and the amount is 200. Write the balance. From this first 100 we have issued 20. So 80 units are remained at the rate 10, and the amount is 800. And this 100 we have issued. Close this. Next, on 7th February 2017, received 400 units at rupees 11 each. Write date column 7th February. Number of units purchased is 400. Rate per unit is 11, and the amount is 4,400. Write the balance. Previous balance is 80 units. Rate is 10. Total amount 800. Write the latest purchase, that is 400. Rate per unit 11, and the amount is 4,400. And close this. On 10th February, issued 200 units. 10th February, receipts column nil. So total how many units we have to issue? 200. So latest purchase is 400. So from this 400, issued 200, rate per unit is 11, amount is 2,200. Write the balance 80 units as it is 80, rate per unit 10, 800. From this 400, we have issued 200. So the remaining quantity is 200, rate per unit is 11, and the amount is 2,200. 12th February, received 300 units at rupees 11.40. Received, we'll take in receipts column. 12th February, number of units is 300, rate per unit 11.40, 300 into 11.40, amount is 3,420. Issues column nil. First write the previous balance, that is 80. So whatever we have, previous balance, same we have to write. That is 80, rate per unit 10, amount 800, 200, rate per unit 11, 2,200, and recent purchase, that is 300 at rupees 11.40, 3420, 3,420. Next is 13th February, received 200 units at rupees 11.50. Receipts column right, 200 units, rate per unit is 11.50, 200 into 11.50, amount is 2,300. Others column nil. Write balance as it is, that is 80 units, rate per 10 800, 200, rate per unit 11 2,200, 300, rate per unit is 11.40, 3,420, and now add the recent purchase, that is 200, rate per unit is 11.50, and the total amount is 2,300, and close this. The last entry. that is 17th February 2017, issued 400 units. See the balance? The latest purchase is 200 units. So 200 will take from this and remaining 200 will issue from this 300. So first write 200, rate per unit is 11.50 and the amount is 2300. Remaining 200 will take from this 300 unit, that is 200, rate per unit is 11.40. 200 into 11.40, amount is 2280. Write the balance. 80, rate per unit 10, 800, 200, rate per unit is 11, 2200. From this 300, we have issued 200 units. So remaining quantity is 100, rate per unit is 11.40 and the amount is 1140. Problem number 2. Prepare store ledger account showing various receipts and issues from the following information under LIFO method. March 1st, balance 500 units at rupees 1 per unit. So balance we have to record in balance column. Let's prepare the store ledger account under LIFO method. Store ledger account, date, receipts in the GR number, quantity, rate, amount, issues in that SR number, quantity, rate, amount. And the last column is balance, quantity, rate, amount. Write the date, March 1st. There is a balance of 500 units at rupee 1. Quantity 500, rate per unit is 1. Total amount is 500. And close this. On March 18th, issued 125 units. So this will record in issues column, March 18, receipts column nil, issues in that quantity, right? How many units are issued? 125. See the previous balance. We have 500 units at rupees 1 per unit. From that, we have to issue 125 units and rate per unit is rupee 1. 125 into 1, total amount is 125. Now we have to write the balance. From this 500, we have issued 125 units. So the remaining quantity is 375. Rate will be the same, rupee 1, and total amount is 375. Next is on March 21st, received 150 units at rupees 1.10 per unit. Received purchasing the goods, that is receipts. Write in receipts column, March 21st, number of units received is quantity 150, rate per unit is 1.10, 150 into 1.10, amount is 165. Issues column nil, in balance right. First write the previous balance, that is 375 units at rupee 1. Total amount is 375. Now add the recent purchase, that is 150 units at rupees 1.10 and the total amount is 165. And close this. Next entry is on April 1st, issued 175 units. So total 175 units we have to issue. See the balance. We have 375 units and 150 units. So we are preparing store ledger account under which method? LIFO method. So in LIFO method, what we have to do? We have to issue the quantity from the latest purchase or from the last purchase. So in this 2 units, the latest purchase is 150 units. So first we'll issue this 150 and remaining quantity. So total how many units we have to issue? 175. First we'll issue 150 and remaining 25 units will take from this 375. Right here 150 rate per unit is 1.10. 150 units rate per unit is 1.10. Amount will be 165. Remaining 25 units will take from this 375. 375 rate per unit is rupee 1. So total we have issued 175 units. Write the balance. This 150 units is completely issued to production department. From this 375 we have issued 25 units. So the remaining quantity is 350. Rate per unit is same 1. Total amount is 350 and close this. April 10th received 200 units at rupees 1.20. Write in receipts. April 10th number of units purchased is 200. Rate per unit is 1.20. 200 into 1.20. Total amount is 240. Issues column nil. Write the previous balance. 350. Rate per unit 1. Total amount 350. Now add the latest purchase, that is 200 units. Rate per unit is 1.20 and the total amount is 240. Next is on 20th April. It was discovered that 5 units received on March 21st were defective and hence were returned to vendor. Okay, on 20th March, they have discovered that 5 units are defective, which are purchased on March 21st. See here, March 21st, we have purchased 150 units at rupees 1.10. So, out of this 150, 5 units are defective. So, on April 20, they have returned 5 units to the vendor. So, return to vendor entry will appear on issues column because the goods goes out of the store. So, April 20th, return to vendor. Rate per unit, take this 1.20. 5 into 1.20 amount is rupees 6. Write the balance 350 as it is. Rate per unit 1 350. From this 200 minus 5 units. Remaining quantity is 195. Rate per unit is 1.20. 195 into 1.20 amount is 234. On May 1st, received 100 units at rupees 1.10 per unit. This entry will record in receipts column. May 1st, number of units purchased is 100. Rate per unit is 1.10. 100 into 1.10 amount is 110. Issues column name. Write the previous balance as it is 350. Rate per unit 1 350. 195 rate per unit 1.20. Amount 234. Now add the recent purchase, that is 100 units. Rate per unit is 1.10 and the total amount is 110 and close this. May 15 issued 100 units. In issues column 100 units. Rate per unit is 1.10 and write the balance 350 as it is. Rate per unit 1 350. Next is 195 as it is. 1.20 234 and closes. This 100 they have issued to production department. Next is on May 20th. Return to store 25 units which were issued on 15th May. 15th May, this previous entry. On 15th May, we have issued 100 units to the production. From production department, they have written 25 units to the store. Return to store, entry will appear in receipts column. Okay. Return to store, we have to record in receipts column. Return to vendor, we have to record in issues column. Return to store, here the goods comes into the store. Return to vendor, the goods goes out from the store. So this 20th entry, we'll write in receipts column May 20th. Number of units returned is 25. Okay, which were issued on 15th May. So on 15th May, it is issued for rupees 1.10. So write the rate 1.10, 25 into 1.10, 27.50. Write the balance 350 at rupee 1, 350, 195 units at rupees 1.20, and the amount is 234. Add the return quantity, that is 25 units at rupees 1.10, and the amount is 27.50. And the last entry is May 30th, issued 125 units. May 30th, total how many units we have to issue? 125. First, this 25 we will issue and remaining 100 will take from this 195. Right here first 25. Rate per unit is 1.10 and the amount will be 27.5. Remaining 100 will take from this 195. 100 rate per unit is 1.10 and the amount is 120. So total we have issued 125 units right here. Balance 350 as it is at rupee 1, 350. From this 195, we have issued 100 units. So the remaining quantity is 95. Rate per unit is 1.20. 95 into 1.20, total amount is 114. Everyone.